Hi, and welcome back to Four Winds water cycle lesson. Today we're doing a lesson called Into the Air and Back. So what we're talking about here is part of the water cycle where water turns from liquid water into the air and turns into clouds, goes up in the atmosphere, and eventually turns back into water in the form of rain or snow or even sleet or hail. So some of the ways to demonstrate that, we're going to use a glass bowl and some steaming hot water, which I've made here. If you want to try this at home, make sure your parents help you out. Now, I think you can see that is steaming hot. I'm going to warm up my hands with it. So what's happening here? So remember, we talked about water. When it gets warm, it gets more active and starts bouncing around, and it rises to the top of the water surface. And what happens then is if it's hot enough, or if wind comes or the sun hits it, it actually starts to transform from liquid form into gas form. And it is visible sometimes in the form of steam, but sometimes you don't see it if it's just on a lake or a pond. But today we're going to speed up the process by which it turns back into water by capturing it in another glass bowl. And I hope you can see that, but it's fogging up pretty fast. All that steam is hitting the top bowl, which is cooler than the water is. Much cooler, actually. And it's turning it back into water. And I don't know if you can get real close. As I watch it, I can see tiny drops of water are forming all across this top bowl. So it's turning back into water. And in my case, it's sticking to the water, to the glass. But if it was in the air, in the atmosphere, what would happen is it would float up there and it might stick to other drops of water that have evaporated, like with cohesion. Remember, we talked about cohesion, how water sticks to itself. And it might even combine with some dust that's up in the air, and it would combine to form clouds. And that's what we see in the sky when we see clouds floating around. It's filled with water. And if it gets heavy enough, once they get gathered together enough where gravity takes effect, they'll start to drip. I want to see if anything here is starting to drip down the sides. It's rolling right down the sides of my top bowl here. So it's not quite raining, dripping, but it's definitely coming back to liquid form. It's gotten heavy, and it's turning back into water. And there's the steam. Okay, try this at home if you want. We'll see what happens.